Hi, thank you for joining me for Take It to the Next Level Tuesday. Today I want to talk about the audition process with a new group fitness manager. So as a group fitness manager yourself, these are some things you may want to look for someone who's auditioning for you. And as a group fitness instructor, you may want to consider doing these things before an audition with a new manager, or even if you're an instructor at a facility and need to audition for a new format, I recommend you follow these steps. So let's say you're lucky enough after the initial interview and what I told you guys to do in the initial interview with a manager, you're lucky enough to be invited back to do an audition for that manager. You want to start by asking a lot of questions about that audition. So let's say they invite you back, you schedule a time, you schedule a place, you schedule who's going to be attending the audition as a manager, but hopefully the instructor is asking you who's going to be at the audition. I would recommend you ask that. What kind of participants are going to be there? What kind of equipment do they have in the space or in the studio? What is the studio like? So maybe take them to the studio yourself as a manager, or as an instructor, ask the manager if you can see the studio that you're going to do the audition in, and then ask if the manager themselves is going to participate. Managers, I highly recommend that you physically participate in every audition, because you may notice some things physically about their audition. Maybe you feel like their warm-up wasn't good enough. You're going to identify that in your own body, but just watching an audition, you're not going to get that feeling. Unless there's like an injury or a pregnancy or something that manager cannot physically do it, then that's understandable, but I highly recommend a manager to take the audition. And I recommend instructors to hopefully see that a manager's doing that themselves. So after you've asked all those questions, you feel like you have a good idea of what to expect for the audition. Maybe you start asking questions about what you need to bring. So what you would recommend them to bring as far as music. So if they have a CD player, if they have an iPod, like an auxiliary cord. But I would recommend as an instructor, if you're auditioning, to bring everything. Sometimes I would even, depending on the facility, if it's a really older facility or it's not run necessarily perfectly, I would bring even my own boom box. You want music there. You want to provide music for your participants. It's going to make or break your audition. Maybe overcoming no music would be a big, a big part of it as well. Create an outline of the class and have that with you for the audition. So let's say it's audition day. You have your outfit picked out. Definitely wear something that's going to be professional and functional, something that you look professional in. I don't recommend wearing anything that's necessarily midriff bearing or too low in the front for women. Gentlemen, wear your shirt, keep your shirt on. Wear shoes that are going to be effective for whatever class you're teaching. And even if you're teaching like a yoga class, don't show up in just flip-flops. Show up in professional attire, something so you look professional to a group fitness manager for your audition. Be prepared with, again, several types of music: iPod, CD. Bring your own boombox if you're in any way, shape, or form doubting if they have a good quality way of providing music to their participants. And then get to know the other instructors at the audition. So in two different ways. First, sometimes auditions at facilities include other instructors who already work there. So the manager may invite the team to come take your audition, get to know the people who are there. Before the class starts, I like to see someone who's there for an audition mingling with the people they don't know, showing that they're outgoing, showing that they're asking the right questions, and what brought them there that day, you know, what interests them about that format. And then taking initiative to quiet down the group, get on the stage, get in the front of the room, and to just rock the audition and take control over the group. I, as a manager, don't want to have to be wrangling cats to enjoy this fitness experience. I should be enjoying it myself as a participant. I shouldn't have to say, okay guys, time for the audition to start. Okay guys, here's so-and-so. You should be in charge of the introduction and in charge of the experience. So another way of getting to know instructors, not only the people who are in the audition, who are already instructors there, but some places, and we've actually started doing this, will do multiple instructors auditioning at the same time. So it keeps things very efficient. As a manager, you invite maybe your team or people in accounting or marketing to come and enjoy the experience. I don't recommend inviting members to an audition, because if it's horrible, it just makes you look bad, and it's kind of a liability. If someone's not working for you, actually it is liability. If someone's not working for you and you haven't hired them and done all of their certification checks and everything, and they injure somebody in the class, then you're in big trouble. So people who already work for you, less liability, better to have at the audition. And if you are auditioning and you have to audition with several other people auditioning for the same format, show that you can play nice in that situation. So I notice very much so when true colors of instructors can start to come out if they're in a competitive environment. And that's what sometimes it can become in some departments in group fitness, is people are competing against getting more numbers in their classes. I don't want it to be about that. I want it to be a great experience for everybody. And if I decide to change the schedule, I don't want people to take it personally if they have to make some changes and tweaks. And then finally, while you're teaching a memorable class experience for the instructors there, for the people who are auditioning themselves, and for the manager, you also want to make sure that everyone feels successful. So something that I notice in people who audition for certain formats is they forget to ask the manager if the manager is looking for a certain level of class. That's a huge thing to ask before the audition, and it's a huge thing to provide in the class. So you want to make sure that you're either providing an all levels class if it hasn't been clear as to what level of class you need to be teaching, because you want everyone in the room to feel successful. However, if the manager has asked specifically, I want this to be a beginner's class, then you provide maybe one or two of the lower options. If you start to notice people needing higher intensity options, you can offer those too, but you know kind of where to start as far as your options of different exercises. If whoever it is has told you to give a very high intensity level 3 out of 3 class, then you need to take it up a notch, provide those higher level intensities first, and then back it off and show those other options. But your coaching style is going to be completely different, and your teaching style is going to be completely different depending on what level that manager is looking for and you're auditioning for the class. So take into account, learn as much as you can about the audition, what the manager is expecting, because again, we as managers aren't the best at communicating what we want. We expect people to just know what we want. So it's better for you as a person who's auditioning, you're going to be more successful if you ask those questions ahead of time. Ask every and all questions to make your audition experience the best. And then when it's over, give yourself a pat on the back for doing an audition. Maybe you hear from that club again, but the experience of doing an audition is so important and so valuable to your career in general. Thank you so much.